lesion on MRI, Likert 5/5, okay?
Uh-huh.
This is the original biopsy that I reported. And this was the only area that was abnormal looking. And there's no cytologic atypia, there's no desmoplasia, there's no perineural invasion.
Is it like
There's
basal
no
cell hyperplasia or something?
that's what I called it, and it doesn't look really like an infiltrative process. So I called it basal cell hyperplasia based on that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously the clinicians were concerned, so they did a repeat biopsy, and just pulling out the slides. Let's share again. Okay, now this is the repeat biopsy, and I think they must have gone like a really targeted. Okay, so anyway, let's stay at low power just for a second. So even though there's more blue stuff, the impression I get on low power is that it's still kind of a lobular configuration.
Yeah.
Now, there's no perineural invasion, extraprosthetic invasion, or necrosis in this material. This is the one core where the stroma looks a bit funny, but this could just be fibromuscular proliferation between the glands. Now, what's different between this one and the previous one is that one, there's more of it. Two, in this biopsy, I'm seeing more of this bluish mucin in some of the glands.
It's looking a bit cribriform in areas as well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So the differential here becomes between basal cell hyperplasia and adenoid cystic.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the prostate, I don't know about the salivary gland, but see like this thing here.
Get it in anal canal, that's for sure.
Yeah. So in the prostate, when they talk about the difference between the two, in adenoid cystic, you would oftentimes have necrosis. It's infiltrative. Immunohistochemically, adenoid cystic is BCL2 positive and has a high Ki67, whereas basal cell hyperplasia, they say, is typically, whatever the word typically means here, BCL2 negative and has a low MIB1, low Ki67. Now, to me, this still doesn't look infiltrative. However, I don't like these mucin-filled cribs.
If your the basal layer in adenoid cystic classically has quite sort of hyperchromatic features, often with quite pale cytoplasm as well. I'm not really seeing that.
You're not seeing that.
I'm
Okay.
not really seeing it. No.
Okay. Now hang on. Let me show you the.
I'd expect it to be up at around sort of 20% with most adenoid cystics.
Right. So I didn't scan the BCL2, but it was diffusely positive in this case.
Okay.
However, this is MIB1. This is the highest area.
So it's too low, really.
Right. And actually, if you here, let's do this. If you go to.
Oh, you can do Ki7 count. Brilliant.
So I'm choosing this. This is like the highest density of positive nuclei. And we're doing a 2,000 cell count. Actually, you know what? Let's do a 1,000 cell count here. We haven't validated the KI algorithm yet, but it looks fine to me. It's 12%.
I've got a validation study that Sonali Natu's done up in the northeast. So I can. I was telling Steve I could give us. We could basically just copy the her validation study.
We don't have. I mean, we'll have to do it internally. It's not a big. I mean, if you just get like 10 cases and you compare them, I should think that should be enough. So you see, it's a very low KI.
It is.
So I'm kind of reluctant to call this adenoid cystic. I just don't know what to make of it.
And show me your SMA Have you not scanned it yet?
I only scanned these two, but I don't know if this is Tima's case. Let me see if she did an SMA. There is an SMA.
It looks like she's done it because there's a placeholder there for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. Let me see. This is SMA. Where's BC? This is P63.
The other thing is you should have S100 positivity with adenoid cystic as well.
S100. Let me see if she has an
You shouldn't get basal
S100.
hyperplasia in the prostate, should you?
Um,
Or you got SOX10 maybe as well.
yes, there is a SOX. Where is SOX? Where is SOX? This is SOX. This is SMA. Now, they might have been done on different blocks because it's a prostate.
Yeah.
Um,
And
okay,
presumably
no,
there's
no,
no
hang on. I'm gonna open the. These are not scanned, so let me just open the
okay,
camera,
camera. Yeah.
and I'll share the image then. Just while waiting for it to open, just let me ask you a question. Before, how many cases did you look at as part of your phase 2 validation before you decided that you were like confident to report digitally?
Well, I've done it like 3 times because I had to do it for Diagnexia, LD Path, Source Bioscience. I think we did 20 or 25.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, a difficult case is a difficult case.
Yeah, 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 of course.
So you know, if you do 20 easy cases, then you'll sign them all out
Yeah,
on with
yeah,
no
yeah.
at all. So I think that there's no specific number, and actually Darren Trina's advice now on the Royal College website is exactly that. Is it's an ongoing process. I think the UCAS will generally say that around 20 is okay,
Okay, cool.
representing a range of the cases that you normally report. Let's say you normally report skin, head and neck, and GI, like me, then you just have some of each of those specialties in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's a bit of
this
a
this
tick
is
box
this
exercise,
is
to be honest.
okay, this is the original one.
Yeah.
Uh, that I had reported as just basal cell hyperplasia. It doesn't have
No, you
the,
no, I
the
don't.
same cribriform. It doesn't have the same cribriform pattern we saw in the new one, and it doesn't have that blue mucin. And at the time, I had done a PSA. Now, PSA will be negative in hyperplastic basal cells, but what I found interesting was the fact that some of these glands had PSA staining internally. I interpreted that as being the normal prostatic glands that
Yeah.
are residual in there. So I was pretty confident that this was a benign diagnosis. Now, going back, go into the repeat biopsy. Um, sorry. So this is, let's see, which one did Tima use to do? Oh, she used block 2. So let me show you 2. This is 2. Right. So that's the one we just looked at. And I don't see an S100. However, she did a SOX10,
Yeah.
which is positive, but I honestly don't know what SOX10 will be like in basal cell hyperplasia because at the end of the day, they're both derived from basal cells, right? Or
Zoom.
could
Can you
be.
zoom in? Yeah. Can you zoom in more and just see if it looks biphasic on there? It is, isn't it? So it's staining. I mean, that's staining how I'd expect adenoid cystic to stain. But like I say, I've not reported basal cell hyperplasia with that degree of florid
Yeah,
pattern
this
in the
is
past.
P6. This is P63.
So it's all staining biphasic. But like you say, you'd expect that to be the same in prostate, wouldn't you? Have you got who's your prostate lead at the moment? Is
No
it you?
one. I mean, it's like Rob and I, we share the role, but neither one of us is really like a
If
prostate.
you go, I've recorded this meeting just because I was interested in showing one of my colleagues Sectra up and running.
Yeah.
Would you
This
mind if
is
I showed it to like Hannah Britt or something?
well. I asked Tima. I recommended that she sends this case to John Oxley in
Yeah, I
Bristol.
think so. Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this
And
is
what about the
SMA.
MRI? Have you got an MRI yet? Is there an MRI to report or anything?
Likert 5/5 in the
Oh yeah, you
suspicious
said.
area.
And all the adjacent organs are okay. There's nothing in
Uh,
the
as far
lymph
as I
node,
know, but
prostate,
this
anything.
is I'll double check actually. That's a good
Yeah,
question. I didn't read the report myself. I just read
John will
what's written
probably
on the.
ask. Yeah,
So this is SMA.
yeah. It's quite variable, isn't it?
It's quite variable, but to me, like it's got equivocal features. The things holding me back from calling this adenoid cystic is a very low Ki67,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's following a lobular distribution, doesn't have necrosis, doesn't have a truly infiltrative pattern. Um, but I don't know, man. It's
There's no
very odd.
PNI. And there's no PNI. I would look really carefully for nerves and just check, see if you can
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah. No,
anything
I
in
mean,
the.
in the previous biopsy, definitely not. In the repeat one, I didn't look very carefully, but Tima did, and she didn't see any. So,
I mean, I'm out of my depth with this, to be honest. I mean,
no, no, I
I wouldn't
understand, but
profess to know enough about prostate to know what the if this is
I,
an
I,
unusual pattern. So
I, I understand. But if you were to see this like elsewhere, would you comfortably call this adenoid cystic, or
no,
would you wouldn't?
no,
Okay,
it doesn't look right for adenoid cystic to me. The
okay,
basal, the biphasic nature morphologically is not that evident.
mm,
It's biphasic on the immuno, but I don't see those sort of hyperchromatic carrot-shaped basal cells, with perhaps a little peripheral halo of
yeah,
plasm around them. It doesn't look right for it.
okay. No, this
Yeah,
was exactly my thought. I mean, I have last time I've seen an
P67's
adenoid
too low.
cystic.
Yeah.
Time I saw an adenoid cystic was years ago, so
I mean,
I'm
but I'm
really
not saying it looks necessarily that I'm confident it's benign because I just don't know. I haven't seen enough prostate pathology really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let me
Yeah,
see
I'd be fascinated to hear
peripherals.
what John says about it.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think Tima is like very convinced that there is definitely a need to send it out.
Yeah,
I'm just answering your question regarding the impression, highly suspicion, highly suspicious lesion within the right transition zone, mid apex, other organs, blah blah blah. No evidence of bone mets, lymph nodes, seminal vesicles, neurovascular. Yeah,
so
everything else is fine.
there's no urgency by this from what you're saying either. This can you can say it's an unusual lesion. You're sending it for second opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
think
John Oxley would have a look at it on Teams. I'm sure. I'm sure he'd be
I,
happy
I I
to
don't
send them an
I
email.
don't
Yeah,
have I don't have this kind of relation with John Oxley. I'd rather send it out as an official consult.
yeah, yeah. No, that's fine.
Uh,
That's the right
the
thing to do. Yeah,
the the I think again, I haven't talked to the clinician about this case, but what I'm guessing happened is that they did a DRE, it was normal. They got the PSA, it was 9.5. They got the MRI because of that. They
yeah,
saw this lesion, biopsied it the first time. I reported it as basal cell hyperplasia. And then they were not convinced,
yeah.
rightfully so.